Welcome to Seagull Maritime's series on elementary first aid. In this video, you will look at the causes of burns on board vessels and the correct way to deliver effective first aid. Throughout, you will be asked to pause the video and reflect on what you have seen and heard. Ideally, you should watch this with at least 2 of your colleagues so that you can engage in group discussion.
Before we look at burn injuries, let's quickly talk about the skin, which is the largest organ in the body and part of a number of systems. Containing the nerve endings that give us our sense of touch, the skin helps to keep unwanted items out of the body, such as bacteria and germs, as well as keeping things inside. It also helps with the regulation of temperature, such as shivering to keep warm, or sweating to cool down. There are 3 layers. The outer layer is called the epidermis, and it is made of mainly dead skin cells. Your skin is constantly renewing itself, and new cells are always being produced in the lower layers, which push up and flatten, becoming the top layer. The middle layer is called the dermis, and this is where new cells are made. Most of the nerve endings, hair follicles and smaller blood vessels lie here. The lowest layer is called the subcutaneous layer, and this is the fatty tissue that acts as protection for deeper tissues, such as bone and also larger blood vessels. It also acts as insulation to help maintain your core body temperature. The depth of a burn is classified by how many layers of skin are damaged. When assessing a burn, there are 5 main points to consider, which we remember as scald. S stands for size, and there are 2 ways of measuring this. With the 1% rule, the palm of the patient's hand is equivalent to 1% of the body surface area. The other method uses the rule of 9s. This is where the body is divided into areas, with the head, the upper and lower front of torso, the upper and lower back of torso, each arm, front of each leg, and back of each leg representing 9%, with the groin accounting for the remaining 1%. C stands for cause. Of the 6 main causes of burns, 4 are more typical. Dry heat includes flame, friction, and hot objects. Wet heat includes hot fat, liquids and steam. The most common type of radiation is sunburn, and cold burns are caused by such things as refrigerant gases. Electrical and chemical burns are classed as the most serious. Chemicals continue to burn until they are washed away. Take care not to contaminate yourself and spread the chemical by cutting away clothing and washing away from unaffected areas. Electrical burns can affect a casualty's heart and breathing. Take care to ensure your own safety by isolating any power supply or by removing live equipment before approaching. If possible, switch off the current. Otherwise, insulate yourself by using rubber gloves and boots, or a rubber mat. Check for breathing before dealing with the burn. If they are not breathing, give artificial respiration. If the heart has stopped, apply heart compressions. You must also be aware of the possibility of both entry and exit wounds when treating an electrical burn. The A in scald stands for age, which can impact upon how well the casualty's body responds to burns. A child or elderly person has much thinner skin than an adult, and therefore they will suffer burns from much lower temperatures. As they will also lose body fluids quicker, they go into shock faster.
Why is it important to monitor the casualty for shock after suffering a burn? Click the pause button and start your discussion.
L stands for location, which is another important factor. Any burns to the face, neck or chest can impact on the airway due to swelling, so you must take care to ensure the airway remains clear. D stands for depth, which is the last thing to consider. The depth of a burn is classified by how many layers of the skin are affected. A superficial burn affects only the top layer of the skin, causing reddening to the burnt area. A partial thickness burn goes through the top layer and into the second layer, causing reddening and blisters. Take care not to burst any intact blisters, as this can lead to more serious complications, such as infection and shock. A full thickness burn goes through all layers of the skin and impacts on deeper tissue, such as bone. Initially, this is the least painful, as all of the nerve endings will be burnt away, but these will require skin grafts to heal. Whether you are dealing with a superficial, partial or full thickness burn, the immediate first aid treatment is the same. Cool the wound using cold water for a minimum of 10 minutes. If chemicals are involved, 20 minutes are required. Remove any jewellery and clothing around the burn, but do not attempt to remove anything that is stuck in the burn. Cover the wound with a non-sticky, non-fluffy dressing. Cling film is ideal, as it protects from infection, covers large areas, is transparent, and it will only stick to itself. With the exception of chemical burns, most wounds can be cooled through it. Lay the cling film over the burn, but do not wrap it, as the wound will swell. Observe the casualty for signs of shock.
Earlier, we used the word scald to remember the 5 things to consider when assessing a burn. As an exercise, write down what each of the letters stand for. Click the pause button and start your discussion.
Burns cause plasma to be lost from the blood, making it much thicker and more difficult for the heart to pump around the body. This means that shock can be a big risk with burns, especially deeper burns or those covering large areas of the body. But with fast and efficient treatment, you can play your part and deliver effective first aid whenever it's needed.